if you're interested in what Bakersfield College or the Kern Community College District might be able to do for you when you're thinking like, do I go and do I get a philosophy degree? How about psychology? Or maybe there's a path for you that is much more directly connected to your next job, your future career. If you're interested in any of that, today's Job Talk episode is for you. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Norma Rojas, who is the Vice Chancellor of a lot of amazing things. Norma, welcome. And can you tell us about your title and just what do you do for the Community College District?
It's actually Associate Vice Chancellor of Public Affairs and Development for the Kern Community College District.
My B studentness is really showing out today.
No. And thank you so much for having me here today to talk about the Kern Community College District. I am the Public Information Officer at the Kern Community College District, as well as responsible for overseeing some of our big initiatives and development projects, such as the California Renewable Energy Lab, our Health Equity and Learning Collaborative, and California Jobs First. And so really, the Kern Community College District is the district office. We are one district with 3 colleges that include Bakersfield College, Porterville College, and Saracosa Community College. We are focused on economic and workforce, and really, to put it like more concisely, really trying to help advance economic mobility for students and those that enroll in our programs within this region.
That's fantastic. And so I know that there's always this kind of overlap, KCCD, BC. Again, you mentioned the 3 colleges. What is that relationship between the district and the colleges?
So we have a board of trustees that oversees the district and our 3 colleges. So really at the district level, we are the policy, we are initiative driven, and we have the 3 colleges that do the day-to-day work, which is really the heavy lift. Right. Our colleges are the ones that are providing the instruction, providing the tools and resources. They are all accredited individually to provide the programs and services that we offer to students.
Excellent. So before we get into what KCCD more generally and the colleges more specifically offer to folks, can we get a little bit about your background? What was your first job? Where did your career path start and develop and end up with you being the Associate Vice Chancellor of a lot of wonderful things?
So my first job was at 10 years old, planting onions by hand in the fields of Kern County, out actually in Metlers where I grew up. And I think back to that, and I remember, the Tule fog was a lot thicker back then, it feels like. Sitting on that edge of that field and just looking and not even being able to see the end of the row and thinking, there has to be more to life than this. Right. I have tremendous respect for my parents who were both field workers. My dad was 82 years old when he retired from field work. And they always wanted better for their children. And so I always felt, that push to seek more. So I went to Bakersfield High School, graduated, and ended up at UCLA, always knowing that I wanted to come back home and make an impact in this community. So started my career here first at the Kern Adult Literacy Council. And then from there, I was recruited and went to work for the Housing Authority and was there for 20 years at a public agency before I made the jump to academia, which is a big shift.
Yes.
But I think it just speaks to sometimes the transferable skills are what matter. And so, I've been very fortunate in that.
Yeah, and that's incredible because so often once you've spent 20 years with an entity or a particular, if you will, an industry, making that shift later on is not the norm. Let me just jump on that real quick. What gave you the confidence to make that switch? It seems like the easy path would have been to just stay.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a myriad of things. At that time, I had volunteered to help with a big measure that the Kern Community College District was undertaking called Measure J. Mm-hmm. And that really gave me the opportunity to interact and meet some incredible people at the college. And I always really believed in the mission because I know for me, education was the path out.
Right.
And I know for a lot of people like me, friends, colleagues, people that I interact with, it's the same story, right? Education is the path. And so I think that's what motivated me, meeting the folks, really seeing the impact day to day that our colleges make. Is what motivated me to take the leap, because it was a leap, going from an institution that you know it solidly, to learning
all the acronyms
all
and
the
everything.
acronyms, everything. You've got it down, and then having to make the jump and learn new acronyms and all the new processes.
Academia doesn't have any acronyms. No, there's no letters.
Very few. Yeah.
So, let's speak to something else. So you mentioned that you got your undergrad at UCLA. Yes. Go Bruins. But you did something that I think those of us that have grown up here really wish we had more of, which is you went away to school, but you didn't stay where you went away. You actually came back. Can you walk us through your mindset? What allowed you to come back and made you want to do that?
Yeah, I think it was always solidly implanted in me that I wanted to come back. I mean, if you talk to any of my college friends, they will tell you, I always said, I'm going back to Kern County. I'm going back to Kern County. And when I graduated, I had the opportunity to stay in Los Angeles, but I came back home. Personal reasons, for, a myriad of reasons. But as I said, even when I left, I always said, I'm coming back. And it's funny because, recently I was spending some time with my old college roommate, and she always shakes her head and says, well, you did what you said you were going to do. You always said you were going to go back, and there you are.
Yeah, and with less Thule fog.
Yes, with less Thule fog. More traffic, but less fog.
Yeah, exactly, which is, there's probably a relationship. So, when we think of what the community college district offers, obviously a lot of people are well aware you can get some prerequisites out of the way before you go to the 4-year. But for those who aren't interested in 4-year or looking at more directly getting connected to that career right away, what are some of the offerings, especially if you want to mention offerings that aren't at the tip of the tongue for most people that are available?
Yeah, and it was part of that learning lesson for me as well. What I found is that our colleges offer something for everyone. Even whether you're in elementary school, in high school, if you're someone who is well into your career and needs to just refresh your skill set, there is something for everyone. And I'll speak a little to that.
Please.
So we just launched what is known as the College Discovery Academy for elementary school students. It's a partnership with Bakersfield City School Districts, really with the concept of the earlier you introduce kids to a college, the easier it is for them to envision themselves there.
Right.
So this is a camp that is taking place at Bakersfield College. And so students are being bused to the college, and they spend their whole day experiencing what an actual college class is like. Right. So they spend their day on the campus. For our high school students, we have a very robust dual enrollment program where at all 3 colleges, the high schools offer the opportunity for students to earn college credits at their actual school. Right. We have Bakersfield College, and I may get the number wrong, but I believe it was approximately 300 students that earned their AA before they earned their high school diploma.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, and so, we have students transferring as juniors straight out of high school. Right. We have our traditional transfer pathways. Yes. And then again, we have short-term certificates for folks that are interested in, maybe they just need to come to an 8-week program or a semester-long program to get the certificate they need to advance within their career. So I do say that there is something for everyone. I have to mention that we now offer bachelor's degrees, very affordable bachelor's degrees. We offer 2 at Bakersfield College, one in industrial automation and the other is in research lab technician.
Okay.
So both of them were bachelor's degrees that were created to ensure that we were meeting a local workforce need. So I think what I've also learned is that we at the community college level have flexibility.
Okay.
There are often times where employers come to us and we've been able to develop short-term certificate to meet that immediate employer need.
Excellent.
So that's what I would say is that we offer something for everyone, whether it is a student, someone looking to upskill, or an employer needing to have their employees upskilled.
Yeah, there's so much I want to say. So first of all, back to the college exposure piece.
Yes.
So I went from high school to CSUB. My wrestling coach called me that summer and found out I wasn't enrolled and chewed me out, and then I was enrolled.
Good to know. Yes.
But my first day of school, I showed up in a suit.
Oh.
I had no idea what it was like to be on a college campus. I just had some imaginary view of what these students, and then everybody's like in shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops, whatever. And it's like, okay, note that, right? And but I say that just to speak to the value of just exposure, not even just in the classroom, but just a campus setting, and just all of that I think is super crucial, and I see why you guys would partner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even for myself, I'll be honest with you. I left to UCLA not even knowing what the campus looked like or what it was. And, things are much different all those years ago. But, it
2021, right?
Yeah, it was taking that leap, right? And committing to a campus that I didn't even know what. When I applied to college, it wasn't necessarily because I knew. It was because we were in my English classroom, and it's what everyone was doing in my college prep English class. And so I even remember that when I chose UCLA, it was my English teacher. Actually, no, it was the person next to me who was a valedictorian at that time who was checking that box. And I said, oh, well, I guess I should check that box as well. And I was fortunate.
That's it.
It's like, imagine how different the story would be had I not checked that box.
Right. Well, and how real it is that not everything that really works out was like a part of the entirety of the plan, right? There's a plan to work really hard, do your homework, and do well, to go to college, but maybe not UCLA, maybe not whatever. But then there's this peer-to-peer influence, whether it's intentional or not, that makes like all this difference.
Yeah, and I look at that with our students on our campuses as well. Sometimes they have this clear path in their head, and it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
I was giving you an example earlier about our nursing programs and how impacted they are, and we have these long wait lists. And what we're seeing is that a lot of students are then saying, well, you know what, maybe I'll try the rad tech program instead, or I'll do a respiratory therapist program. And what they're finding is that they're successful in that. They're getting picked up and getting jobs that are good paying jobs right away. And so it's okay to have that flexibility in that career path. And I think that is true for a lot of folks. We grow up hearing the traditional, be a doctor, be a teacher, be a lawyer. But there's so many other opportunities out there.
That's right.
And at the college level, you learn about so many different opportunities. And I think students end up finding that path. And when you see that light bulb go off, it's just incredible to see.
Yeah, and what you're saying speaks to this idea that we tend to, whether we're picking our college path or we're picking our career path, kind of like go with like what we know. And well, we know there's doctors out there and nurses, but then you have this 4-year wait for your nursing program when there's all these amazing job opportunities that if nobody exposes you to, you just don't even know. Even if you were, I just tore my MCL, even if you're in an emergency room, not everybody running around is a nurse.
Yeah.
But they're all in worthwhile occupations, doing good work, and often at really good wages. But that exposure is not always there, but those offerings are available.
Yeah, and I mean, they are critical support staff for everything that happens in the healthcare industry. So, and again, that's just one example. There's a myriad of programs, I mean, hundreds of programs that are available to people within this community, and they're affordable.
Yeah.
Imagine getting your AA and transferring to a major college or university as a junior, not having to pay for those first 2 years.
Right, yeah.
So again, there's a lot to be said for the value and the opportunities that community colleges provide.
Yeah, it's funny. The first time I heard about that was, I don't know, some years ago. So I live in Delano, and I was a student from Delano High and I don't want to rewrite his story wrong, but I think he graduated with his AA, and I think he went to UCLA. Yeah. And I don't want to put the name out there, but that was, I was like, this is weird. And then I'm like, you're gonna graduate when you're like 19 or something.
Yes, they're getting their masters at these incredible ages. So
yeah, but awesome, and I hope I'm right on this, but I certainly believe that KCCD is involved in credit for prior learning.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, again, credit for prior learning is it's a huge initiative that is being supported at the statewide level as well. And obviously, we have people that went straight into the workforce and who are very skilled at what they do. Mm-hmm. And so credit for prior learning gives us the ability to be able to give people college credits for the work that they have the skills to do. Right. So again, I know that some adults are hesitant about going back to school because they're thinking, oh gosh, I have to start at zero and build my way up. Well, no, this is an opportunity to acknowledge what you have learned and turn that into credit so that it is also part of that educational journey that you're embarking on. A lot of our veterans are taking advantage of that because obviously in the military they learn a lot of skill sets. Yes. And so it is, again, another way of us advancing and helping to support folks that just need that skill set. And the reality also is sometimes you do need that certificate or degree to get that to that next level. Well, this is an opportunity for us to open those doors. We have apprenticeship programs, pre-apprenticeship programs. So again, it's there's something for everyone. I do genuinely believe that.
Yeah. So let's stay on that. Employers, right? Yes. Employers. If I'm an employer in this community, you already mentioned the 2 bachelor programs, and don't let me get this wrong, but it sounds like were directly created based on, if you will, employer need. Like there is these skills and this degree level of necessity that you're trying to match. If I'm an employer, what can you guys do for me? Or what are you already doing for me that I may not even realize?
There are opportunities to sit on our employer advisory boards, which again help us develop the skill sets and the programs and classes to fill the need. But in addition, I mean, there are always opportunities. We hold so many different job fairs or even just, ag days where the ag employers come in. But there's also this opportunity to partner on innovative things. I'll give you an example. Through our California Renewable Energy Lab, people were very curious about regenerative farming and agrovoltaics. So what we're able to do...
one more time?
Agrovoltaics. So what it is
Thank you.
is using solar panels, and then you grow crops underneath.
Oh, okay, yes,
I've heard of this. Solar panels you can... modify in different ways so that you can continue to grow crops through different seasons. And so at the community college level, the question was, well, what are agrovoltaics and how do we get our students...
I'm sorry. Yes.
How do we get our students to understand that? How do we get the community to understand that? And how do we make this an exciting career for folks? And so what we've done is we are investing in a demonstration project out at our Delano campus.
Yes, that's why I know
And
about
so
this.
our
Yes.
students are going to be working hands-on with the National Lab at the Rockies to understand and develop curriculum and information about what is this technology, how do you use it for good within this region, and how do you fix these mechanisms. So really, when you think about it, there are different layers of education that can be provided.
Perfect.
So that's just one example, but yeah.
Well, but it's such a powerful example, and that's like even back to your the ability for an employer to participate in an advisory capacity. Employers often, and rightly so. I mean, but will act or talk about like kind of the disconnect between what they're doing and what schools are producing or teaching or training. But there's a way for them to impact that. Their voice can be heard.
Absolutely. Yeah. So whether it's contacting the colleges directly or coming to the district office, we are always opening those opportunities.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Yeah, and the planting under solar panel project, I can't say whatever you just said multiple times, but that's the UCLA versus the UCLA.
Agrivoltaics.
But these innovative projects that are not away from business but involve business and directly impact that, I mean, that's just the home run, right? Because one of the things that I think is the value of the community college system in general is this career path. Whether you're talking about your 8-week program or it may be that you get an AA, but there is a career in mind. I was just in a conversation a little earlier, even this morning, about somebody who got their business degree. And then the question was like, to do what?
What do I do?
Well, yeah, right?
Yeah.
But always having that job or even business, entrepreneurial opportunities on the end, having that in view, back to your 10-year-old planting onions, or picking onions, and you can't see beyond like the Thule fog. We need to have folks with that job in mind, even if, back to like what you're saying with your nursing program, even if the job I end up is not the one I thought I was going to end up in, but I land in a good spot because at least the target and the approach had an employment goal attached to it. It wasn't learning for learning's sake.
Correct. And I think that that's something else that we've done a good job of, is really developing pathways for students. And so whatever your career journey is, what is the pathway to get you there? And really ensuring that people have that guide in order to meet and achieve that goal. I also think that sometimes it's not having the information or not knowing where to get the information. Right. And so, we have counselors, we have folks on campus that are really dedicated to our students, and making those appointments is critical because that really is what's going to help you stay on that path.
Yeah, excellent. And even your partnerships with, whether it's the elementary school district, which was new to me, or the high school district, that connection to make some of that easy is so powerful. So I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the district's involvement with Kern Coalition, the California Jobs First Initiative. Can you talk about some of the catalysts, awardees and some of the work that you guys are doing? You can take it wherever you want, but I just know some good work is being done.
Yeah, so California Jobs First was a regional economic development initiative that was funded by the state. And right now, we did our planning phase, which developed an implementation plan for the region, again, focused on economic and workforce development. And then we received some funding known as Catalyst funds to help innovative projects within the region with some funding to kick their projects off. So I'll categorize them. I'm not going to go through all 16
Oh,
because
yeah,
they're
no,
also
no, no.
different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for example,
We'll let the ones you don't mention be really mad. But anyway, it's okay.
I'm not going to mention them by name. No. But really just these projects are focused on certain industries within our region that we know are relevant and that are going to be job producers. So we're looking at energy-related projects. We're looking at, some advanced manufacturing, just entrepreneurship, to your point. We're a huge region around entrepreneurship. And so, we have a project that is out in Lamont, and he is doing a training program on electrification. Mechanic, how do you now start working on these cars? And his big interest is really in working with and mentoring youth into that career pathway. We have others that are looking at how do you electrify your home? So converting from gas appliances to electric, and what does that mean, and how do you sustain that? But it's not only teaching that, it's actually teaching how you electrify a home.
Right.
So it's a job skills, it's a workforce development piece. We have an aerospace and engineering program that is looking at training techs to do some of the electric panel work on new aerospace technologies that are being developed is all I will say.
Yeah, no, exactly. Everything else is classified.
Yeah, everything else is. But we have another partner that is looking at all of the abandoned oil wells and looking at converting them into energy sources that are, so capping them correctly and then being able to produce their own independent energy. So some of these were intended to be, we know that they're startups, and so it's going to be a trial and error to see. We have a project that is looking at developing a co-working and entrepreneurship space out in Lake Isabella.
Yes.
So a lot of innovative things. Out in McFarland, they're looking at creating a hub for advanced manufacturing and other ag tech projects. So it's been really exciting, not only to see the projects coming forward, but it's also been exciting to see that these projects are touching every different community within Kern County. They're not isolated to one place. We've spread it out so that there are multiple communities that are benefiting from this.
Yeah, well, when you mention aerospace and we're talking, Mojave, or you're talking about projects in Lake Isabella or the Kern River Valley or McFarland, you're touching every part of the county, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this and I'm super interested. Is there a website? Is there a phone number? How does somebody, not that you want to leave your personal self, but how does somebody reach out and start to find ways to get connected?
I would absolutely recommend people go to our websites. If you look on the screen, you will find the website for Bakersfield College. We also have the website for Saracoso Community College, and then the website for Porterville College. If you go onto the website, it will guide you, and I know it can seem overwhelming at first, but it really is about digging in and, finding the area that you're interested in, and then within that, you'll find the contact number of who you can get in touch with to get more personalized support.
Yeah, so kind of surf the page, find your area of interest, and then the contact information will be there.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close it out?
I think just to really reiterate and emphasize that the Kern Community College District and the community college system is the community's system. So our colleges have satellite campuses in rural communities. We have campuses in Bishop, Mammoth. So we're really trying to make our programs and our classes as accessible to the community as possible. So lean into us, get information, because I know that you will find something. As I've said before, there's something for everyone at our community colleges. So
if you're one of those someones that are looking for a program like this, whether you're looking for your first job or your first career path or you're transitioning to a new one, you've done something completely different than you ever thought you were going to do, but now you're trying to like come back to that original goal that you had some years ago. The KCCD is ready to help you wherever you live in this community. And so when you're thinking about those career paths and you're thinking about getting your skills trained up, and you think that whether it's the college district itself or these three colleges that they support, if you think that there's opportunities there, encourage you to reach out. But just remember, whenever you're talking jobs, talk job talk.